Wow, last night was strange. Like, we had the Xbox Series S leak out yesterday, like later on in the evening, right? Brad Sams had a picture from marketing material, put it out there. We covered that in Newswave this morning. But of course, after that, Microsoft noticed that, the system they had not announced yet or shown was on Twitter, and it was going viral on YouTube everywhere. Websites were reporting on it, and they kind of did some memes a little bit on Twitter. And then at like 3 a.m. my time, they decided just to reveal the thing. They just unveiled it completely. Like, they put a bunch of information out there, press releases. We know even now the pricing and when it is coming out. We have all this information. So we're going to go over that here today in a follow-up to Newswave from the main channel this morning. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like it down below. It does help out. And if you're brand new to the SpawnWave Plus channel, go ahead and subscribe if you want to keep up to date on any of the next-gen news coming out for gaming. So let's, I want to go over to Windows Central, mostly because they had some pretty good information before all of it started to come out. And there is one piece in here that's kind of interesting that I haven't really seen talked about too much because it's something Microsoft has done in the past. But let's go over here. They say, we can confirm via our sources that the entry-level Xbox Series S will cost $299 at retail. That has also been confirmed, with a $25 per month Xbox All Access financing option, which Microsoft is planning to push hard via various retailers in a large global rollout. The more powerful Xbox Series X will cost $499 with a $35 per month Xbox All Access financing option. Microsoft has done this before. I think they even tried it with the 360, if I'm not mistaken, but I know they tried it with the Xbox One and the Xbox One X, and it was basically like financing a cell phone where you would go there, you would set it all up. I believe they would like run a credit check and all, they do all this stuff, right? But they would eventually come to the determination that you could go home with this Xbox without paying the full amount up front. You would just pay it monthly, whether it's $25 or $35 per month. And the idea was to lower the barrier of entry into their ecosystem, right? Because if you have an Xbox Series S or an Xbox Series X, you are more likely to subscribe to Game Pass and xCloud in that instance or anything if you had a PC or if you had a cell phone that has xCloud, right? Because there are just more options on those other platforms. If you have this box, there is a very high chance that you would probably also subscribe to Game Pass because it's right there and it's compatible across the board, right? That's the biggest thing. So in Microsoft's mind, if they can figure out a way to get this box into your living room for as cheap as possible and as easily as possible, they're going to do it. In fact, I have a feeling they could even try to get cheaper down the road with this system, continuously get cheaper to where maybe they get to a point where it's just a little streaming box they buy. It comes with xCloud, and you have that just in the living room as this little Android-looking box or something, and you just have that on like a dresser in a bedroom or something to use xCloud or remote play. But with what we have here, what we know now, Brad Sams' leak was correct. It looks kind of like a speaker. It looks like the adaptive control. It looks like a boom box. I've seen a lot of memes online, and they're great, by the way. There's some awesome ones. By the way, is this the most we've seen new consoles as they get announced just get memed like crazy on Twitter? I feel like it is. I just don't remember the Xbox One caught some heat because it looked like a VCR and it was massive. I just don't remember it being that crazy like it is now. I mean, even the dev kits got memed where like people were turning the PlayStation 5 dev kit into a little vacuum cleaner. So I don't know. It's really funny online, though, to see this. Whenever these things get announced, people look at it, they see something like a washing machine, for example, and they run to Photoshop. Anyway, we did get this slide here from the marketing and the trailer that they showed. I'll also play some of the trailer as we go along here in this video, but they laid out a ton of details in about a minute and a half. And I have to say, for $300, this is a very impressive system. It is releasing November 10th, which tells us that the Series X is also coming out November 10th. $300 for this system here, the Series S. $500 for the Series X appears to be correct, which is, I think, a good pricing. A $200 difference is enough to where you might go in, and this could be even impulse buy territory. I mean, in Europe, apparently it's cheaper than a Switch. Like, that's impressive, isn't it? But if you look at the slide here, it's all digital, of course. There is no disk drive. That is one way that they can save money on the ultra high-def Blu-ray drive that is in the Series X. 1440p at up to 120 frames. Now, this, of course, is most of the maximums they're telling us about. 1440p is probably the native resolution that it will go up to. It will also upscale, as they say, to 4K. but up to 120 frames is good. Microsoft has been pushing that. The Xbox One X also has an option for 120 frames. I don't really know any games that really utilize it, but this is something they have worked into some of their other systems already, so it makes sense that this would also have it. DirectX ray tracing, that is, we're going to come back to that. That's very impressive. Variable rate shading, variable refresh rate, ultra low latency, a custom 512 gigabyte SSD. That'll be something to see, with Call of Duty Warzone taking up half of that. 4K streaming media playback and 4K upscaling for games. So the 512 gigabyte SSD is something I had thought a little bit about. Can they get a 1 terabyte SSD in here when they are thinking of cost? They could not. That is obvious here, right? But there is a chance that there is one of those little memory card slots on the back, and you can just buy one of those if you need more space down the road. Keep in mind, this is going to appeal to people who don't buy every game that comes out. This will appeal to people who play Call of Duty and Madden and FIFA and like 2 or 3 games a year. This is perfect for them. Now, I'm really impressive with the ray tracing aspect of this in a $300 box that you can buy and set up, and all of a sudden you have a system that is slightly cutting edge in that department. It also makes me wonder about AMD's cards going into their reveal. If they're getting ray tracing out of a $300 box, I wonder what AMD is going to do with some of their lower end cards. It's something to think about there, but all digital. It was expected. I know not everyone's that excited about not having a disk drive for physical media, but again, they're trying to cut out as much cost as they could. And if there was a disk drive, maybe things like 1440p would turn into 1080p at 60 frames rather than 1440 at 120. And well, you know what you're getting when you're going into this, and it makes sense for Microsoft to do this. Even if they lose money on this, because it's all digital, you'll actually be giving them more money in the long run, because you will end up probably buying most of your games from, obviously, their shop. I mean, you can go online and buy codes from people and stuff, but you're probably going to buy most of your games on their Microsoft store, where they get more money from it. Third parties will also like that because they want you to go more digital. And of course, that also means more Game Pass signups. And the other good news, we finally know pricing and release date, which, I mean, maybe that means we'll start seeing some pre-orders open up soon, which would be great. And this kind of takes that whole pressure off of who's going to crack first. Well, turns out it was Microsoft. Not even by choice. It leaked out there with the pricing. I think Microsoft was going to announce this probably next week, but their hand was forced and they decided, let's drop the trailer at 3 a.m. Whatever, sure. So that tells me that Sony is probably also preparing their pricing and release date. There's word that it could happen tomorrow. There's some interesting things going on, is what I'll say. Maybe we'll go over that news wave tomorrow. But I think Sony will have a $500 system and a $400 system. They won't be able to match this right here. This is something that Microsoft has been thinking of for a while. Can they get a system in at $300 for next gen to go alongside of their Game Pass service? And looks like that's what they're going to do. But let me know what you guys think about this system down below. I guess you could say it'd be more for the it's a casual audience who buys a few games a year, but also for someone who doesn't necessarily care about all the bells and whistles that are on the Series X when it comes to 4K or even 8K at this point. And they want the SSD load times, the better CPU for some of the open world stuff that we expect to happen, and AI and all this stuff in newer games. There's a lot packed in here. And even for parents who are buying for their kids at holiday, I mean, they're going to look at this and say, oh, it's $300 and they don't have, discs laying all over the place. And I can also buy them a subscription to Game Pass, or maybe it comes with one. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So yes, this I think will sell better than people realize during holiday time. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.